Are we ready?
We're more than ready. We're
live. Of course you push the button and don't even tell me.
What's going on, Jennifer Lacy?
Hello, how are you?
Oh my god. This week I've been between like 9 and 11 a.m. I'm like, well, actually between 5 and 11 a.m. I've been like a squirrel. I'm like, man, why am I so like fidgety? And I've been sleeping super awesome all week.
Ooh.
Right. So I'm looking at my data this morning and I'm like, man, I've been sleeping like 7 hours a night, which is like consistent, like back to back, which is not normal for me. It's like, no wonder I'm all like driving my own self crazy. So that's how I've been, Jen. What about you?
Good. I just, got back from a trip to Florida where I got to hang out with a bunch of really cool, internal Robbins and Morton people that are just rock star. Our HR team just got, they kill it with it, recruitment and retention and how they're treating people. And so I got to work with them this week because we had almost 70 interns and co-ops that are currently working for us now on jobs and departments. They got to come together and just connect with each other, but also got to kind of hear from our leadership on different things we do. So it was just kind of a cool culmination of hanging out with some friends, but also getting to meet some new people and messing with some minds a little bit.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I like the highlights that you shared with me. It sounded like a super awesome experience.
Yes, we had fun.
And so, speaking of super awesome experiences,
yes,
what is this, Jen?
So, so Jesse and I, I'm going to say 4 years ago, like this summer. So that's why it's insignificant. 4 years ago this summer, Jesse and I collided on some other stuff. And then he said, hey, I got this idea. And we're going to talk about it a little bit more today on the show. I got this idea. And do you want to do it with me? And so we were talking and I'm like, sure. I kind of know you. You're kind of cool. So sure, I'll say, okay to this, whatever it is. And then it was the beginning of a lot of things, Jesse. It was the beginning of you and I being on screen together. It was the beginning of you and I kind of trying to find our voice and what that looked like in our industry, but also in the world. And then, so you had an idea and then we started doing live streams, which ended up being it ended up culminating into a book that you and I wrote using the live stream and the content that our tribe contributed. One of them being over there on the already commenting this morning, but our tribe, I know, right? It's like he was there from the beginning. So
from the beginning,
we pulled in comments and things that our tribe shared on our live streams and put it in the book. And it's been 4 years. So we had a small group then, because they didn't really know who we were. But we had a small group there that we had, had relationships with. And then 4 years later, because the book led to us launching No BS with Jen and Jess. And then we have just continued to grow and try to reach as many people as we can. And so we're like, you and I were having a conversation on, so we probably got people in our tribe now that like one didn't even know who we were 4 years ago. And two, may not have been a part of those live streams to help us have the conversation around what we're going to talk about today. So we were like, why don't we have a conversation and start just kind of refresh, but also like maybe educate some people or help people know, hey, we had these really cool conversations that with our tribe and with our community that really the intention was, how can we help create connection, community, and also help people understand that lean, which is something that you and I live every day, lean is something that is not just tied to a construction site or a manufacturing plant. It is something that can be applied to real life.
Yes. And so we got Mr. Jim Gontorez, who was absolutely there at the very, very beginning. He's a self-proclaimed lurker, but he's never been a lurker. He's a freaking make it happener. And thank you, Jim, for sticking with us all the way down 4 years. My wife is probably pissed off. Like that damn fool couldn't even do 4 years with me. Jordan, what's up, Mr. Jordan?
Good
How you doing,
morning.
brother? Well, Jordan, what you're going to get today is a little bit of a rehash and maybe a polishing of like the whole Lean in Love story, because yes, we did publish a book, right? Like, and on one part, like there's two things, right? I feel irresponsible, or like maybe I'm short serving people by not, because it's funny. I talk to people, they're like, "You wrote a book?"
No.
Like, yeah. And it's like, shit, man. Clearly I've done a poor job of letting people know. But the important thing is the impact it has on people. And so to add some color to what you were talking about is like, if we were just going to do a live stream conversation on each of the concepts, like that was the entire plan. That was it.
Yeah, we were done. I was like, peace out, Jesse. See you later.
Yep,
that was it.
Yep. And then two big things happened. One, people like Jim showed up and contributed to the conversation. Oh, look, we got another one, Miss Stacy. Good morning, Stacy. Good morning. And so people showed up, contributed to the conversation, but deep and personal stuff, which was like, oh shit, I didn't. First of all, I was just surprised and pleased that anybody showed up at all.
Yes.
But then the interaction and like that community thing started happening. It was like, what the hell's happening? So that was first thing. The second thing, we had a conversation with Thomas LeMay. And Thomas said, Jesse, this is what is part of, like, this is the remedy to the illness that we have in construction. I said, what do you mean? He's like, this is all about connection and relationships. It's all about human connections. Like, this is a big deal. And he also pointed out, he's like, dude, you've got people here from the largest builders in the country coming to this thing. And so that turned into like this responsibility of like, oh, we really got to do this to like be part of the solution. And there was still not a plan to write a book, right? It was just, we're just going to do live streams. But it just kept growing and growing. People were asking for like cliff notes and cheap, from the talk. Because Jen, maybe you could let the audience know out there, how would you describe the way we communicated in those early live streams?
First of all, please, those of you that are just now listening about this for the first time, please do not go back to the YouTube channel and go look at all the first do not go back and look at all the first ones where Jesse and I were the first times we were on the screen 4 years ago together. Just don't. Just like do it here with us now so that you can get a flavor of how far we've come.
Yeah. But there is a link in the comments. It'll take you to the playlist. It was like two squirrels. Like we used, anyways.
And mainly it was two squirrels and one of them that needed a plan. And one of them that was like, it's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And I mean, so it was that. So you're already fighting. Your minds are fighting. And then we were just like.
Yep. And so, oh man, we got some awesome. So we got Mr. Josh. He says, happy Josh. Yay. My brother. And then we got Miss Jory. What's going on? Authenticity is magnetic. She's got some cool stuff.
Wait, is she Blue Heart?
She needs to be a Blue Heart, but we haven't talked about the Blue Heart yet.
Okay, well, let me do that real fast first before we get into everything else, because we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. Okay, so those of you that are out there listening, because I had a ton of new connections this week. So I'm just going to talk to those people and people like Jory that I've not seen on our live stream before. So please. So we do this little thing. And so we want you, if you are on for the first time or commenting for the first time, so you're come across our feed, you've not heard us before, but you're kind of listening in the background, or you've been listening and now you're like Jory and you're typing, which is really cool. Put a blue heart in the comments. So you can write blue heart, you can right click, go to emojis and put a blue heart. But that helps us. That helps us know you're new. And it's cool because we can celebrate you, but it also lets our entire tribe know you're new. And we have a community. And so our tribe sees you're new. So they're going to connect with you and they are going to follow your content and they can engage with you and stuff like that. So we try to grow it all over the place. But this is a huge piece for us to be able to celebrate you for being here with us today.
Yes. And when you do drop a comment in the chat,
yes,
name in the randomizer. And what that means, if your name gets selected, you will get a calendar invite to participate, dive in, and experience one session for free of the Cultivation Crew and one session of emotional bungee jumpers, which we have a bunch of folks out there that are on the live stream right now that have, we'll say, suffered or enjoyed those experiences. It's intense. So if you're scared and you're not about authenticity and vulnerability
or growth,
we're going to build that. We are going to help you get comfortable with that. But like for real, the links to the original videos, like the thing that started, they're out there, folks. You can go out there and critique us.
It's there for later. You don't need to listen to us now because it'll give you some good comparison. Listen to us now. Go back and listen to those later. They're so bad. And even then, like obviously it turned into something great. But even then, as we were like navigating and mainly me navigating, but what we were navigating early on, I think, but at first we had a plan, we had a soft plan, but it was still very focused on like, we've got to talk to these people and we've got to use these words because we got to make sure we connect with them. Mm-hmm. Like we knew that we needed to make sure we focused on work because that's where a lot of people are, that's where they can apply this.
Yep.
And it just went sideways really fast.
And so, folks, here's a little translation or filter for you. Jennifer saying we, what she really means is she. Because I'm like, yeah, let's do the live stream. And Stacey points it out. You got to start somewhere. Yep. Same with her podcast. Exactly right. Just start the damn thing. It'll be all right. The added value of like doing a live stream or recording the podcast. I'm going to tell you folks out there, you can record and never post a thing if you don't like it. Mm-hmm. But there's tremendous value in like when you go to do the edit and watch the replay or check it out, you'll learn all kinds of stuff about the way you speak or the way you don't communicate, etc. So in terms of personal development, it's tremendous. And then Mr. Jim says, and this is the important part, right? Like this is why for 4 freaking years, every other Saturday, I get up, I get my makeup done, and I get all chulo for everybody. It's because of this. Jim says it's not just how far y'all have come, but those of us who have been following have come a long way. Amen. I'm definitely a better person today. Large part, wow, thank you, Jim. Large part due to the No BS tribe. I may lurk most of the time, but I am listening, learning, and growing from each interaction. And
thank you, Jim.
Right, as one of us grows, all of us grows. It's this reciprocal propulsion where we support and feed into each other and grow in a particular direction. And he said it. Even you lovable lurkers out there.
Yes.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yes.
All right. We got Mr. Jake Jones. What's up, Jake? Okay, so we're gonna get like, here's the plan today. And y'all will let us know if it's worth the damn or not. The idea right now is to talk about, like, do it again, right? Like it worked the first time. It was helpful to people. We do it again and go through the 5 S's. And so the idea when we first started was let's talk about each of the S's: sort, set, shine, standardize, sustain. And how to apply that in our relationships, personal and professional. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if we're going to get through all 5 today, if it's going to take 2 live streams. Like, Jen, I have no idea. And I'm counting on all the folks out there in the Omniverse to say, okay, I'm bored. I don't want to hear this bullshit anymore. Mm-hmm. My gut tells me that, like Jim pointed out, those of us that have been doing this thing, like coming together regularly, have grown quite a bit. So we're going to have a
Yes.
different depth of perspective. There might be some more depth in the conversation, but ultimately we want to have the conversation. And the idea started here. I got these letters from an ex of mine, and there's a bunch of them. So you can't, it's going to be really hard to figure out which one. But anyways, and what she was doing was she knew that I'm a psychopath maniac about all this process improvement, lean stuff. And so she contextualized the 5S tool to our relationship. And when I read it, I'm like, holy hell, this is going to help a ton of people. And the way she got me to read it is I always told her that this lean thing is universally applicable. Like any business, any industry, any situation, it's applicable. And so I said, Jess, you told me that lean stuff is like universal. Yep. And she says, okay, read this. And then I read, I'm like, oh shit. And so it's the human side. Like that kind of helped us maybe open the door for us to better frame what you and I completely connected on is the human side of everything, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, let's put this out into the world and see. I had them for like 3 years, the letters, and I would show people, and a lot of people said that I'm crazy, like get over it. And other people said it's amazing, that's great. And I was looking for a way to let it out into the world. Live streaming started happening, collided with Jen. Let's do it. And then because of the No BS tribe, it ended up turning into a book.
Well, and it also turned into a No BS tribe because we didn't have a tribe when we started the live streams. The live streams were like our plan, and then we were going to be done. And then we finished this 2.5, 3 months worth of live streams. And then people like Jim were like, what's next? And we're like, yes, we're done. What are you talking about? Like, we don't have anything next. And so from those conversations, Jesse and I sat down at a table and just started like, what could this look like? And we said, we got to create a platform. We got to create a community. We got to create a place that people that did show up could continue to come. And also we can grow it. And that was 4 years ago.
Yes. And so, where my brain is in terms of these points around the first S. The first S is sort, right? Like get rid of the stuff you don't need. Simple. Yep. My brain is here. I'm just going to say it, right? So the first point is discard any jealousy or distrust, right? So in a relationship, personal or professional, when I have jealousy and distrust, it's going to undermine and erode that experience because the resentment and all the unsaid things and all the slide remarks and like all of that. I have to let it go, get rid of it, get it out. Now, what I think about now after 4 years of us doing this, Jen, is one of the most beautiful comments or feedback points that we get frequently is the psychological safety that we have with each other.
Yes.
Right. And so there's tremendous respect between the two of us. There's tremendous trust between the two of us because both of us pull and push each other always closer to the edge. And in that context, if I had any jealousy about how much attention you're getting or who's getting the spotlight and all of that, or if I didn't trust you, the content or the depth of this conversation and the experience just over 4 years would be dead by now.
I would agree.
And so, I mean, like, and so in terms of like this idea of jealousy and distrust and getting rid of it, I agree. Like me as an individual, I have to take ownership and filter, sweep that garbage out, work through that. And as a leader, right? And so that was one of the things when we were talking about it, you're like, okay, we really need to talk about how it relates to the job site and to the job and the field and the office. And I'm like, yeah. And here's another point, y'all. When we did the first one, the feedback we got was like, all the job site shit was good. We want to hear the personal shit. And I said, yes, let's do more of that. So anyways, But I'm going to play the other side of the coin right now. As a leader, I can create the situation to help. I can pick up the broom and help sweep out that jealousy and distrust for my team. And so, Jen, it's been 4 years. And so this idea of discarding jealousy or distrust, what nuggets have you picked up or awakenings have you had about this idea since we first started?
Oh, well, one thing that we said early on that, like you said it, and I know you didn't do it intentionally. It was like something you said, and then it became a quote, and then it became, okay, we use it to reference back. But you said something early on while we were doing these that said, you have to exhibit the behaviors you seek. Yep. And it was, again, you said it, but then everything after that became, if we project everything out to everybody else, we're not going to get better, and we're not going to help the change and what's going to help the people around us. And so for me, that one was a game changer. Not that I wasn't already showing up that way, but I was intentionally showing up that way of, like you said, the distrust. Like trust for me is, those of you that know me know this. Those of you that don't, now you'll know it. But I give trust. Without people earning it and then they have it until they lose it. And so it will give trust. And so the back and forth of, I will give you trust, and hopefully because of that, you will give me trust. And I have it until I have abused it. And then I don't have it anymore. And I have to own that I'm the one that lost it. But the same goes with other people. And by the grace of God, I have surrounded myself with amazing people that haven't abused it, and that I have friends and I have colleagues and I have people around me that have helped me grow and improve and stuff like that because of the people that I have put my trust in. And so those were the biggest things for me, is I had to give to get. And most people, a lot of times they go, you got to earn my trust. And for us, I'm in a little bit of job site, but even on our jobs, you got to earn my trust before I'm going to believe that you're going to do this when I'm not looking. Or you got to earn my trust before I'm going to give you that, or I'm going to promote you, or things like that. That's a mentality that people will work to get, but I get a lot more when I give it up front.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And yes, demonstrate the behaviors you seek. When my team is funking it up, I gotta look at me. What is my behavior signaling to them? Because there's something I'm doing that's helping them think it's okay. Same thing with the trust, right? I love it, because I'm totally on the same page with you in terms of, well, before I go further, folks out there in the Omniverse, got a question for you. You see it on the banner. How do you discard jealousy or distrust? What do you do to manage that? Maybe you haven't got there completely, but how do you go about doing that? Or how do you feel about the idea? Because that's kind of where it starts. Have you even thought about how much jealousy and distrust is a bottleneck from between where you are now and where you want to be with your relationships with the people you spend time with? Anyways, back to the point you made, giving trust and giving respect for me has been ultimate freedom. I can't do that if I hold on to distrust. Do I have a ton of reasons to distrust people? Hell yes, I do. Because I know that human beings are human beings, and they're pretty focused on themselves, and they'll make decisions that benefit them and maybe cost me. How do I know that? Because I've done it too. And so that's something that I want to point at for folks, that if you struggle with trusting people, my money says it's because you're projecting your own behavior on them, maybe past behavior, maybe it's not current behavior, but you're projecting a way of thinking and a way of treating people or undervaluing people, and you're assuming that they're going to treat you the same way. and I'm saying that because that's where my distrust came from, where people had to earn my trust and people had to earn my respect. It was because I knew the decisions and the deviosities that I had done in my life. And so I'm like, if I could do it, they could, like, subconsciously. I wasn't thinking that logically, but that's what was happening. And so giving it away, and like you said, Jen, helps. Like, now it's your responsibility to maintain the shit. I don't have any, I don't need to be keeping score. I don't need to be tracking. I gave it to you. You screwed it up. Cool. You're off the team, right? Like, it's very easy for me at that point to say, I gave you every opportunity. I wasn't playing games. I wasn't testing you. Maintain that shit. And if you don't, peace, right? I got, now the other thing, you said that, like, you've got all these people around you. What I think, for me, what I feel actually happens is it starts it's like a magnet, a force field that starts pulling people in, the right kind of people, right? Because there's still people in my life that said, dude, you're freaking, I would never, ever say or do that. There's no way. I'm like, yeah, I understand. But there's a growing number of people that are saying, ooh, I like that. They kind of start floating in. And I think that's a direct result of demonstrating the behaviors you seek. And so if I want trust in my relationship, I got to give trust away. I want a relationship free of resentment. Guess what? I got to, like, let go of jealousy and face or maybe articulate my insecurities professionally or personally, so that that stuff, like, just clear it out of the way. All it's doing is creating mess and friction between what could possibly be in terms of a really meaningful and deep relationship. What do you think, Jen?
I have a question for you.
Come on.
Everything you just said, that leaves us vulnerable, Jesse. Why is that important? Why does that matter? Like, why do we, one, be aware of it, but two, how much have we seen that that's why people don't make that choice?
So I want to give handles to these ideas, because we're going to be talking about words, right? Psychological safety. I said it earlier. What does that even look like? It looks like trust. It looks like respect. That's it, right? Trust one another, or build trust, respect one another, hold each other account, or be accountable to each other, be accountable to the commitments that you make. That's psychological safety. Like, it's not much more complicated than that. Vulnerability. What is vulnerability? On one hand, I used to think of it as, I'm giving people ammunition. I'm showing them my weakness so that they can come and attack me, right?
Yep.
That's a way to think about it. Vulnerability is also just sharing the dirty details, like the truth, the reality of what it is, right? I could speak, and, I'm not a total dummy. I can speak with a lot of big words. You know how much energy, Jen, it takes for me to speak with a lot of big words?
A lot.
And so all that energy that I put into polishing up my delivery and my presentation and having executive presence is misplaced energy, meaning it drains me. And so now, but why would I do it? Well, because I want to advance. I want to be taken seriously. I want to maintain my credibility. Like, all of these things are on the table. And we'll just use credibility. I fear losing credibility. And by I mean, this is what I think most of us kind of wrestle with. I fear losing credibility. And because I fear losing credibility, I'm going to augment my behavior to guard it and maintain it. The problem is that there's no vulnerability there, right? I'm protecting myself, and I'm creating this version of myself, which is in return creating this world that wants that version of me that's taking too much freaking energy from me, and it's attracting the wrong people. And so then I'm in this cycle of, like, misery, having to do the song and dance and play the game, and I hate it. And I've lived that. And so what's vulnerability then? It's, you know what? I cuss a lot. I use small words. My grammar sucks. Sometimes you'll hear the chewy come out, and sometimes you'll hear the hood come out. And it's just what it is. And am I vulnerable, exposed to lose credibility? Absolutely. I've had people call me and say, Jess, like, bro, come on. Like, you got to be a better representative of yourself. You got to be professional. You got to, thank you. I appreciate that. It just takes, it's not worth the energy. If I just, the more comfortable I get with being more of me, the richer my experience is on this earth. The vulnerability is I'm at risk at losing people. I'm at risk of people seeing me a certain way. And guess what? They're going to see me any way they want to see me. Like, it's their real life experience. And so to your question, yes, there is risk. And here's another truth. All the what ifs that you're running in your head, I promise you, sit down and like write them down, because I bet money all of those what ifs, like, oh my God, what if I did that? If I did that, if I did a live stream, what if? I bet all of that list is all the negative, most horrendous things that could happen. And here's the problem. Or maybe here's the awakening. You can also run a what if list of all the amazing things that could happen.
Yeah.
And like, for real, both of those lists are delusional. They're bullshit. So do the thing and find out, right? Instead of, okay, all of these things could be wrong. I'm going to go put on the armor and put on the helmet so I can protect myself from those possibilities of things happening. Again, I just think it's misspent energy. And so, yes, there's vulnerability, but I know for a fact I'll say it this way, the less guarded and protected I am, the better the results or my experiences with human beings, within my business, within all the things that I do. How do I do? Do I get a gold star?
Okay, I got a follow up, but I do want to make a comment. How many, I guess, we're talking about vulnerability and the fear of like pulling back the curtain and like maybe having something that the whole world doesn't know about, or maybe something you're not even proud of. Just see how many people and have you interacted with, engaged with, even people you've watched from afar that you know has nothing behind that armor, that has nothing to hide? How many people?
None.
Right. So again, our fear is like, oh my gosh, they're going to see something that's not perfect. They're going to see something that is not the presence that needs to be there. They're going to see that I failed. They're going to see that I screwed up. They're going to see that I mistreated somebody. And that's something that stops us from doing something. And my point, based on your response, is like, there's not a person out there that doesn't have something behind that curtain, behind that shield, that they're scared.
Yes.
And when you do it, when you get vulnerable, that one part of them goes, "Oh, I'm not by myself," and they're doing what they're doing, and I know I've got broken pieces inside me. I know I have not done everything great, but it's okay for people to know that.
Yes.
By just making a choice and sharing something. The book has a lot. I have a feeling we're going to get more in these live streams that we're talking about. But being able to, like, when you do that, it allows people to go, "Oh, like, it's okay." And so,
the way I think about, or when I talk to like leaders, is like being vulnerable, saying I don't know, saying I need help, humanizes you.
Yes.
Because we're usually not aware of it, right? The level, our titles and all that, the years of experience, decades of experience, amplify our words. The people that are entry level are looking, they think like, oh, they got it all together. They're untouchable. They're perfect. They're flawless. They're spotless. Like, that's what they think. I mean, didn't you think that when you first entered the professional space?
Oh, of course.
And so then it sets this unrealistic expectation for them. And, it creates all this wonkiness. But if Jennifer or me said, man, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like, I have no idea. What could we try? What do y'all think? All of a sudden, they're like, oh, crap, they don't know either. They're like, we're human and we can learn together. And so it's signal, you nailed it. It signals to people it's okay. The sky's not going to fall down. And that's one of the reasons that I do it so vigilantly, is so that, because I think I'm doing it way, way, way on the edge. And I know a lot of people are like, dude, watching you do it gives me confidence. I'm like, okay, we'll do the thing. Well, they're like, wait a minute, I got confidence. I'm not ready to do it. It's okay. And that's the whole point. So we got a couple comments here. Miss Maria.
And I feel because we got YouTube in and we didn't get LinkedIn, there may be some jankiness because we run across with LinkedIn jankiness a lot. So I just put a YouTube link in case they want to switch over to YouTube. Just threw it out there.
Okay. Oh, you mean to watch the live stream?
Yeah, because I feel because we not getting the LinkedIn, sometimes the comments don't come through. If you're having an issue with LinkedIn, you can always go to YouTube and watch us.
Okay. I'm tracking. Good. So Maria says, yes, but you bring about what you think about. So the what if positive list is more productive. Agreed 100%. Yes. And so that's the game. When you get the what if the sky's going to fall down, all that shit, write another list of what also could happen, because none of them are true. Just create a list and then, make the decision and go forward.
Yes.
So quick rehash, folks. We are doing the Lean in Love. Today's live stream is about the Lean in Love relaunch. What's Lean in Love? It's the book that Jennifer and I co-authored. And we're doing it to there's a bunch of folks out there in the Omniverse that maybe have no idea about it, and maybe also touch on how we've grown and developed since then. And so we're on the first S, which is sort, get rid of all the stuff. We just talked about getting rid of jealousy or distrust. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about discarding fear and doubt. So folks out there in the Omniverse, are we missing the mark? Is this a conversation, keep thinking about it. Is it a conversation that we want to continue? Because there's 4 more S's. Mm-hmm. Or should we go deeper and think about relationships with ourselves? I don't know. Maybe y'all could let us know. Drop a comment, and you'll get your name in the randomizer. So, Jen, discarding fear and doubt.
Yes.
Did you have any? No, I know the answer. How much fear and doubt did you have when we first started this?
Well, Jesse, a lot. And interestingly enough, it wasn't because I'm going to screw up, or I don't know what I'm doing, or it was not so much I'm going to be on stage with Jesse and I'm going to fall. That was not the fear. For me, it was 100%. I do have presence and I do have credibility, and I am out there doing some really big things. And now I'm going to be on stage with Jesse. Is that going to help me, or is that going to hurt me? And so for me, it was, we're doing this thing, Jesse, but it's not under my corporate title. It's not under my company I work for. You and I are doing this, reaching a lot bigger spaces. Yep. And for me, it was, and poor Jesse, he not even poor Jesse, Jesse was a trooper. Early on, I was like, Jesse, we're going to have to put some parameters around some of these conversations a little bit. So just be respectful, because I need you not to cuss. I need you not to say things that, could be polarizing, because I do have this presence that I don't want it to hurt that. And for a while, that's where I was dancing. I was trying to make sure I was walking the line, but also doing the things that I knew were important for you and I to talk about. So I was leaning in each time a little bit better, but my fear was I was going to lose something over here by showing vulnerability. I was going to lose something over here, credibility, whatever it was I had that I had earned and I had worked hard for because of what we were doing. And obviously the end result is it did nothing but help. And so I don't think anybody knew that, especially not me or even the other people around me. But and I've got great examples of now people are like, where's Jesse? Like, is Jesse going to come do this with us? Is it? And so now he gets to do way more fun, cool things because everyone else is like, well, we need both of y'all. And so, but early on, that was, it was a huge fear of mine, is that I had to keep these things separate, and we were talking about they weren't separate.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's what we were talking about.
Yes. Yeah, inside the gate, you nailed it. We're talking about, okay, we're going to do this thing. We're going to talk about relationships inside the gate, outside the gate. But Jen was like, wait a minute. We got to pay attention to my gate.
Yes. I mean, it was, but it was real. And it was, again, the respect you had to allow me to navigate it. I couldn't have done it. Like, I wouldn't have been able to continue to do it until you said, okay, we'll get there. And you said, and you saw it and you knew it and you allowed me to figure it out. And then now it's like, Jesse, maybe we need to put up a gate somewhere.
Nobody wants no gates. Look, we got a freaking ultra superstar.
Oh my gosh, she's like a rock star.
Thank you, Dr. G. She says, so glad you answered the call to action. Love the dialogue. Thank you. And so, folks out there in the omniverse, like, is fear, or how much? That's a better question. How much is fear and doubt choking your relationships? And I don't mean that kind of choking, you dirty minded people. How do you spell choking?
CHOKING.
See, I'm all about the grammar. Shit, I misspelled it. I said how much. See, this is why I don't worry about it, because it just takes too much effort. Okay, so folks out there in the omniverse, think about this. And if you're courageous and want to share so that other people know, like, oh my God, I'm not alone, let us know in the comments. How much is fear and doubt choking your relationships? Personal, professional, doesn't matter. And so, yes, Jen, it was challenging at the beginning.
I know.
Right? Because you had your stuff. But I could see, like, you were taking I knew how big it was for you to even, like, do it, because I didn't have a damn agenda or, like, all the stuff. But you were willing and, like, okay, fine. Because I'm the opposite. And one of my many therapists helped me see this. Like, in my romantic relationships, the way most people, my therapist helped me see this, is I approach a relationship 100% wide open. I'm gonna tell you all my stuff. I'm gonna let you in 100%. What a lot of people do, like practical people do, is they start a little bit open, and over time they open up themselves and share more of themselves. So while people are doing this, what I'm interpreting is that rejection when they're not open with me. So while they're getting comfortable, building trust and opening up, I'm shutting down. And I played that cycle over and over and over again, because every time somebody held back or like, I'm not sure, I don't know, I'm like, okay, and then it was too late. I can't go back, right? Like, it's a thing. And so that's how doubt and fear can choke a relationship, right? Now, I've grown, I've matured and learned a few things. What helped us, because if you would not have made progress, if you would not have inched just a little bit more, my doubt in you would have stayed. It would stay here, or it would have gone up. And I know me, like, you know me. When I get to the point, it's like, you're dead to me. I cut you off and I keep
you're done. Like, you're never going to come back from the dead.
Right. And so I don't like to get there, but the whole point is your willingness and the efforts, even though they were small, I could see you taking steps. And so my doubt was invalid. Like, okay, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And so my point is, if you are fearful, that's okay, but make progress, because your fear is sending signals to other people. And this is how it feels in Jesse land. When people are fearful and apprehensive and doubtful about things, the way or ideas or things that I want to do or, collaborate on, what I interpret is that they don't trust me. They don't want to work with me. And I got plenty of people to work with, right? So it's like, okay, you don't want to play. I'll go ask somebody else to play. Mm-hmm. That's not what's going on with them, but that's how I interpret. That's what it feels like. And so the reason I'm sharing that is folks out there in the omniverse, like when you have fear, at least articulate it. Cause that's what Jen was doing. She's like, Jess, we got to do this. Like, okay. There's a real thing there. Mm-hmm. Well, there's something that looks like a real thing there. And so I need to respect that and honor that. And I'm also going to still push, but I can throttle and gauge my pushing so that we could continue growing together. Did it feel like that, Jen?
Yes. And I want you to dig in a little bit to, like, you're an action guy. You're an action guy. Like, I got to see it. I got to see progress. I got to see you're moving. I got to see that you're taking action. Like, that's your mode. And, I also am an action person, but I may have to, I used to overthink a lot more things before I would take the action. And yes. Jesse and I were, we'd have a lot of conversations and he would be like, da, 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 da. And I didn't run at the same rate that he did. And I think for both sides, I want to give some context and then I want you to give some input into this, but yep. When you're an action person, okay, and you're like, Jen, you need to do this, or what about this, or try this, whatever, and you're the receiver of that, and you're not running at the same rate, it gets scary. You have some fears and some doubts that you're going to screw up, you're going to mess up, you're going to do something that you're not ready for, all of those things. It is so important from both sides. Number one, if you're feeling that, you've got to voice it. And if you're saying something to someone and you're seeing signs or you're seeing some apprehension or you're seeing resistance, it doesn't always mean they are rejecting you.
Yes.
So can you dig into those things a little bit?
Yeah. So two things. One, you got to say something like that and you're phenomenal at that. Because if you don't say it, I'm going to fill in the blank space with my stuff. Mm-hmm. Right. And so you would say stuff like, Jess, you're right. I know I need to do that. I'm not ready to do that. Mm-hmm. Right. And then I'm like, luckily, on the other side of the coin, I've learned that if I push people to go at the rate I go, I scare the hell out of them and they completely break down. Like it's not reasonable for me. And here's the key point for everybody to take into account. Everybody grows at a different rate. If their rate is slower than yours, it doesn't mean it's wrong. Let them grow at their rate, because I also know, what we're experiencing now, Jen, is 100% evidence of it. Well, if they start off slowly, they will get faster.
Yes.
But you got to let them progressively get there. And so when you would straight up say, like, Jess, you're right, I do need to do that. And I don't even, I'm not ready for that. Awesome. I got to take my foot off the gas. What are you ready for? What do you want to work on? And we'll focus there. So that was really extremely, extremely helpful. The other part is, for me, what took some discipline was okay, we're going to grow. This is going to happen at a different speed than I want it to happen. And that's okay. But how do I deal with that? And so what I had to do was okay, she's working on this thing, whatever it is. All I'm looking for signals of progress, right? And so to give that some context, there's idea, there's decision, there's action, and then there's a whole bunch of actions. Mm-hmm. Idea is not hard. Decision is difficult. Mm-hmm. Action is more difficult. And so I'm always looking for, okay, you're talking about this problem, this idea, this issue. Have you decided to do something about it? Yes. Right? If we're going to talk about that 3, 4, 5 times, that ain't my game. I'm not the right guy for that. We can talk about once, maybe twice. I can once for sure, twice, mm-hmm. Because we're getting to decision. And if I see decision, I'm like, okay, hell yeah, that's progress, right? These are the micro signals. Okay, now we made a decision. I know how hard it is to get into action. And if the conversations are between decision and action, but there is progress, I can stay engaged. And so I think part of like the benefit I got from the whole thing was being able to look at it even like closer with the magnifying glass about like, okay, yes, it's not, because I go from freaking idea to action. I don't think about like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, boom, I start doing it, and then it costs myself a lot of money and time, and that's okay. But that's not how everybody functions. And so I got to see like there's these little graduating steps between idea and decision, and then a bunch of graduating steps between decision and action. And I also know if I can be patient and disciplined in supporting people between all of those micro steps, once they get to action, their cycles start getting faster because they built evidence that says the sky's not going to fall down. And so had you not worked through your fear, and rather, I'll ask it this way, Jen. After working through that fear and doubt, how has it impacted your personal life and your career?
Well, exponentially. So I think I didn't know they were connected. So we'll start with that. So Jesse and I were doing this cool, fun thing over here as I was growing and scared to death, but still doing it. And then I was showing up to work and I was doing other really cool things too. I did not realize what we were doing was going to impact my career and my job. I had no idea how much it was going to impact it. And so I just kind of, and again, I say this loosely. I wasn't like, I can only do this here and I can only do this here. I just was very intentional on things that I would talk about on here and what I wouldn't. And then when I was at work, I wasn't like, you should show up to my live stream. You should read my book. Like I was just very intentional on kind of keep making sure that when I was in those spaces, my conversations were, in those spaces. And then when they started bleeding over, mainly because some of my people started showing up to the live streams and then they started talking about it. And then that started catching on. And so then other people were having the conversations in rooms that I was not in. I started realizing like, it's okay. It's okay. Like to talk about these things, both places, but it also, Jesse and I've talked about this a lot. Like when the reps that you do in anything that you're trying to grow or learn or evolve in, the reps you do will help you so much faster. So if you want to try something new and you're messing around with it and you're like, this is frustrating, and then I'll get back to it in a month or so, that's great. But if you get back to it tomorrow and you get back to it the next day and then you do it again and every day you're doing it a little bit, in a month from now, where you're going to be in your rate of change and your rate of growth is so much different than if you're like, I'll get back to that because I'm irritated. And so us doing this for 4 years on the screen, on the fly, unscripted, like just trying to, pull comments in, change the conversation around, it has 100% helped me in my facilitation skills, my leadership skills, my interpersonal skills, my everything I do in my job. By being able to do this with you has now allowed me to watch and observe and pull and facilitate conversations and help people kind of get places that maybe they don't know where they want to be. And I attribute it 100% to the things that you and I've been able to do.
I love it. I love it. So folks, like summary, here's the deal. I understand why fear and doubt is something that we latch onto. Like for real, like I'm not completely fearless. And yes, I have doubts, just maybe not as much as most people, but I understand it, right? I appreciate protecting, self-preservation, it's instinctual, all of that. But also know the more of that that's impacting our decision-making is the friction in our relationships. Mm-hmm. And what Jen just described, not just the relationship, but what could be by being open and receptive and fully embracing or ignoring fear and doubt a little bit more and letting it grow into what it could be. What do you think, Jen?
Well, yeah, and I want to add to what you just said and summarize even what you summarized from what I said, is that people in relationships, and I'd say a work relationship, a personal relationship, a child and parent relationship, like in relationships, if I'm rejecting something or I'm fighting something, it is not the person across from me. Yes. It's the idea or the change or the something that is going to have to cause me to do something that scary. It's an unknown. It's something I have experience with that I didn't have a very good experience. So if we can contextualize it from that perspective and look at it from that perspective, and someone's fighting you, and they're not like, I'm ready to punch you in the face fighting you. They are fighting the words and the ideas coming out of your mouth because it scares the crap out of them.
Yes.
It will make you engage in the conversation differently.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. They're not kicking you out. They're fighting change, not you.
Yes.
So Maria, folks, we got 5 minutes till we do the randomizer. And so how do you get in the randomizer? You make a comment in the chat, thumbs up, whatever, but in the chat, and that'll get your name put in the randomizer. And Maria is sharing, who is also another OG, right? Mm-hmm. Fellow emotional bungee jumper and all of the things. Maria says, I've been working on choosing love for myself and others over fear. Nice. And so that's just key operative word, choosing. Mm-hmm. You can choose to shift that focus, to shift the thing. Over fear, 12 out of 10 recommend forgetting about fear. If it brings worry, it gets the boot. Right. And I love that because it's just that when I feel it, recognize it. I'm a little bit scared. I'm a little bit doubtful. Okay. And I'm not going to let that color my decision. I'm going to recognize it as something that happens because I'm a human. Now, let me look at this decision as from another perspective and not let that fear and doubt shorten it or dampen what is possible.
And extra credit, and just really, I want to make a point, and extra credit when you voice it out loud. So I got an example.
Yes, tell us.
Fear and doubt, and things that worry you, and like one, owning it, choosing to go, I'm not going to do this, when you voice it out loud. So it's not only you're dealing with it, and you're the one that's going to hold some accountability to yourself, you voice it out loud. So it's quick example. I was speaking at a conference on the stage, keynote speaker, group of 300 people in the audience. Okay. That's what they brought me to do. So I opened with, I really don't want to be here right now. I really don't want to be here right now because when I travel, I have a child that deals with anxiety so much. And this morning I already got to deal with the tears and all the scariness of me being out of town. And she was getting ready for school. And my heart is breaking right now because I know that she probably had a rough morning. And you know what? She's going to grow from it. I'm going to grow from it. We're going to be okay. And then we went forward and we talked about some things throughout the keynote. And in the end, when we were asking questions, someone stood up in the back with tears in her eyes and said, thank you for sharing that because my son struggles with that too.
Yeah. Say it out loud.
So say it out loud. It helps you create connections with people that are dealing with the same things.
Yes. Yes. Why? Because they're human.
Yes. Yes. To
talk about human shit. Yeah, I love that, Jed. But it takes courage to do that, right? Because you're vulnerable at people saying, freaking keynote speaker got up there and said she doesn't want to be here, right? Like, because I'm sure there was at least one or two that had that, right? The troll.
Yes, I have no doubt.
It's always going to happen, man. Yeah. Like the only thing, like if you want to make everybody happy, be a taco. Otherwise, give it up. People are going to be pissed anyways. Jordan says, sounds like a lot of rupture and repair. one of the fastest ways to build trust. Like, yes, right? Like to build strength in muscles, it is rupture and repair. That's how muscles grow. That's how strength is built. If you avoid the soreness, thank you, Jordan, this is solid. If you avoid the soreness, you're not going to get stronger. You're not going to get all the freaking massive guns that I have over here. You got to go through the rupture and repair part. And I'm going to add, Jen, like, had you not been letting go of fear and doubt, and had you not been like challenging the boundaries and going, like, we would not be here right now.
No, we would not.
It would be a totally
I
different.
Wouldn't be where I'm at in my career either. So like it's we wouldn't exist because you would have been like, I'm good, and I wouldn't be at any point where I'm at right now. Yeah.
Yeah. And did I have fear and doubt too? Shit, yeah, I did. Right? Like, am I going to be handcuffed to freaking? I'm gonna have to wear a tie or freaking bow tie and shit to these live streams. Like, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but hell, let's give it a shot. That would have been funny. Me wearing the bow tie. Anyway, all right, folks. So we're talking about Lean in Love, which is a rehash, right? It's a relaunch. We published the book 4 years ago. I think it was.
We published it 3. We started the live streams 4. So yeah. So just again, book's been out for 3 years, but we did the live streams first. That led to the book because we didn't even know we were going to write a book.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. Yes. 100% correct. And the book is on applying 5 S to our relationships. The first S, what we've been talking about, is the first S: sort. Get the stuff out. Get jealousy and distrust out of the relationship, personal or professional. Get fear and doubt out of the relationship because it's not helping. It's slowing it down. And the last point is discard anger and resentment. But we got to hit that randomizer. You ready for the randomizer, Jim?
I'm ready. I'm ready for the randomizer.
Randomizer. Let me find it. Where is it? Randomizer. There it is. All right. I think you said you wanted to do the sound effects this time.
No, that's you. I can't even compare to what you're doing.
All right. So here we go, folks. If your name gets selected, you'll be getting an email, an invite to join in the cultivation crew and emotionally bungee jumpers for free for 1 session. And here we go. Oh, Jory, that's awesome.
Yes.
All right. Miss Jory, first timer. I will be hitting you up in the DMs to get you an invite so you can come and hang out with us. Oh, that's so cool. Like, she first timer, right?
I know. Yes.
We're going to have some fun. And then, we got a comment. Who do we got? Mario. Mario says, what's up? Coming in from Austin, Texas. My man. Mario's solid people. So, folks, first, connect with Jory, connect with Mario, connect with everybody in the comments, because these are some like real people that are all putting in effort to leave this industry better than we found it. Now, back to the agenda.
Yes.
And I'm going to switch it up, Jen. Believe it or not. So the last point that was in those love letters was, and in terms of like, what do we want to sort out of our relationship, was discard anger and resentment. We got to let it go, right? The anger, the resentment, just got to let it go. But I'm curious, how do you apply this to your relationship with yourself?
Oh. Well, personally, I've realized when I am, and it took a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity to do some self-reflecting, which I didn't do any. And so I think through this, I've learned that I do need to stop and own a little bit of when I'm angry and when I'm mad and when I'm irritated or frustrated with people. My first question now is how much of what I've done has contributed to it. And that the growth it just took for me to just not react and to really like, because poor Jesse, he has been in cars with me where I got a phone call or I'm talking to somebody, and the level of frustration and irritation that happened from the conversation that he got to listen to, and then I get off the phone. And my level is so like, I can't make a decision. I can't do anything, but just because of my reaction to the conversation. And this specific example was because I had an expectation, an assumption that I didn't communicate very well, and plans changed. And it was for me. And because someone changed my plans and said they're not able to do something or they're not able to help me, I was livid. Like, I don't know if Jesse ever saw me so that mad and that angry. And like so I had to de-escalate and get off whatever was, because I couldn't even function. And then I had to make a decision. I had to go, okay, well, this is my responsibility, and I'm the one that has to make a decision here on what's next. And so, Jesse, I'm going to drop you off at the airport, and I'm going to drive to San Antonio because my plans changed and I couldn't get on an airplane. And I did what I needed to do, got the kids I needed to get, and we drove to San Antonio, and we did a weekend, our reciprocal propulsion weekend, and they got to hang out, and we got to hang out with some cool people, and then I drove back. And it was a little more travel time than I planned for, and the weekend was great. But it was 100% because of me and how I contributed to what caused it. But how hard is it? Like, that is not how we react. That is not what we do when something is causing us a little bit of uncomfortable. We have to do something a little different, or we're not okay, or gosh, this is making my life so much harder today. Well, what did I do to contribute to this environment or to this decision that I could have made a different choice?
Yes, because you were carrying old stuff.
Yes.
And connected it to what just happened right now.
Yes.
And it was, oh man, I wish I had video of it. It would have been the ultimate leverage. I love that, Jen, right? Like, that's the thing is, and an important point, and maybe we just start doing this for the next few conversations, is the first batch of this conversation in Lean in Love, right, is about relationships with others, professionally, personally. How's that coming across? Not good,
it's
right?
White. It's completely white. Yeah. There we go. It's still, the light.
Yeah,
the lighting.
Anyway, so this is the book. The first S sort: discard jealousy, discard fear and doubt, discard anger and resentment. And then there's points in here. And so I want to read an example because, again, we included the comments, right? Remember Mary Allison up from North Carolina?
Yep.
One of her quotes was, how much does the communication style differences between men and women clutter their conversation and relationships? And how does that cause a roadblock in the effort to bring more women to the field? And so the reason I want to share that, not necessarily to get into that conversation, but just to show kind of the what to expect in this book. And there's also, we had a super cheap illustrator. Did all the illustrations.
I still am waiting for my royalties still.
But folks, the point is, hopefully you got some value out of today's conversation, especially if you're like new to the Omniverse and didn't know we had this, the whole Lean in Love thing. Jen is asking for emails with specific feedback on her method or style of presentation from the very first series, and the link is in the comments for y'all to go back and watch the first one. But the purpose of the conversation when we started the live streams was to present a different way of looking at our relationships and how to enrich them. The purpose of the book was the same thing. The purpose of these conversations that we're doing now is to like help people, like give more people some nuggets to chew on. And I don't know, should we like just transition from talking about external relationships to talking about the internal relationships and how these same concepts apply to the self, to internal introspection, let us know in the comments, in the DMs, whatever. We're looking for signals, folks. If you're interested, if it's boring, let us know. What do you think, Jen? You got any closing thoughts?
Well, one, I love the conversation today, because a lot has happened in our life in the last 3 years, 4 years. And so even today, the examples that you maybe poked at me to share, they didn't exist 4 years ago. So I love that we're able to talk about even some things that have happened and growth that has happened, or experiences that have happened in the last 4 years since we started these conversations. But you also know that I've already scripted out all of the things that could possibly be a book 2 that focuses on our relationships with ourselves. So like, we have all of these little nuggets of things that I would love to get some content and some contribution that could lead to something else. So it's like, I'm still going, like, do we do the 5S that we did before, being able to share it and then weaving in some of these, like, balancing it out with the internal relationship versus the external relationship? That's, I don't know. Like, I think we need some feedback.
Yeah, folks, let us know. Maria, coming in from YouTube land, says, the more I've worked on and this is it, like, this is it. The more I've worked on myself, the more I feel how I feel about best friends or others I care about. My heart explodes with compassion and grace. Yes. Like, straight up, which I think connects to the internal thing that you just asked, right? It's sure, I can apply the 5S sort. The next one is set, where we have some, like, super gangster best practices that the tribe members have put into practice. And it's kind of externally, right? How do we help other people? How do we tell other people to behave? How do we advise?
How do we get them to do the right thing, Jesse? How do we get them to do it? Because, like, yeah, I got to do this stuff too, but, like, they got to do stuff too for this to work.
Yep. 100%. And like Maria said, no. It's about me.
Yes.
I need to work on me. And then everything, it's super counterintuitive, but I promise you it'll work. So my closing thought is this, folks. One, we want the feedback. Let us know. And if not, you're just going to have to suffer through whatever we decide to do. I'm okay with that too. But in the book, we have reflection questions at the end of each chapter. Mm-hmm. And so I want to pose these questions to the lurkers, to everybody that took the time to comment and share their thoughts in the chat, and to anybody that's watching the replay. Question number 1. What is bringing you grief? What is irritating you? What are those things? Write it down. And, like, it can be your significant other. It's okay. Write it down. I won't tell. I promise. What is stealing your time? Make a list. Write those things down. And what have you been avoiding? Write that down. Mm-hmm. And what's keeping you from what's important to you? 4 questions. What's bringing you grief? What is stealing your time? What have you been avoiding? And what is keeping you from what's important to you? Why do we want to write that list? Because that list is the clutter that you need to sort out of your relationships and your life so that you can have a more gooder time.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right, Jen. Well, I think we'll just wrap it up. What do you say?
Yes. And then we do have after party, right?
Do we have a link? I didn't see a link.
I did share a post on the No BS page this morning that had.
Ooh, I missed it.
Yes.
Yes, there's an after party, folks. Go to the No BS with Jen and Jess page, and I'm gonna scramble to put the link. I totally forgot about it. I'll do what I can to get it in the chat, the live streams. But come to the after party. Give us some feedback. You don't have to be wearing clothes. I mean, you don't have to have your camera on.
No camera on. You don't have to.
I'm not going to tell it. There's no dress code, but you don't have to have your camera on. It's just an opportunity for us to get your feedback and connect at a more human level. And if you're new to the tribe, you get to meet all the other awesome people. So we will see you next time. Chicken banana.